And our newspaper reviewer, Bayo Toby, is in the studio. Good morning, Bayo.
Thank you, Jume. Good morning. Good morning, Kinsley. Good morning, Nigeria.
Right, good to see you. Hope you had a pleasant weekend.
Yes.
With the dust.
Don't worry, the rains will wash away the dust very soon.
That's the first. Okay, we have some papers here. Let's begin with the Punch newspaper this morning. And above the masthead, Nigerians spend $39.66 billion on foreign education, medical tourism. That's coming from the CBN. State governors sink deeper as NNPC plans 328 billion naira deduction in April. January-February fuel subsidy payments hits 430 billion naira. Find details on page 40. Federal government's borrowing from CBN rises by 96.54%, hits 18.16 trillion naira. You find details on page 40. By the side piece of the Punch newspaper, courtrooms, judges' accommodation delay 2,000 Boko Haram ISWAP fighters trial. Courtrooms, judges' accommodation delay 2,000 Boko Haram ISWAP fighters trial. You find details on page 8. Controversies surround $10 million, 1.360 billion naira deposit recovered from Nexim. You find details on page 8. And the headlines we have in the Punch newspaper this morning: new National Working Committee, APC inaugurates appeal panel Tuesday. PDP says Adamu has fraud charges. With riders, co-contestants await refunds. Senate to declare Adamu's seat vacant. Transfer APC ahead of 2023 poll. Transform APC ahead of 2023 polls. Bajabia Miller tells new National Working Committee. PDP mocks ruling party, says new chairman has corruption case. Wike declares presidency bid, knocks Atiku, Saraki, orders. Wike declares presidency bid, knocks Atiku, Saraki, orders. Details on page 9. Bread prices may go up. Bakers blame forex energy crisis. Find the details on page 40. Lassa fever death hits 123. NCDC worries over rise. Details on page 8. Arewa Group alleges custom selective promotion, demands Buhari's intervention. You find the details on page 43. Ramadan, Taraweeh prayer banned by Saudi Arabia, hindrance to spiritual opportunity, says group. You find details on page 42. Kano man, 65, defiles 5 minors. Chinese steals 72.7 million from employer. Find details on page 4 and 5. OAU protest, interference in university autonomy, says ASU. Details on page 43. At the bottom plate of the Punch newspaper, airport invasion, stop pampering terrorists. OK State Police, Afenifere tells FG. Details on page 9. 2 detained suspects excrete 165 wraps of cocaine. Australia-China bound drugs seized. Details on page 4. AG raises 50 audit queries against NSITF, alleges 87 billion naira fraud. You find details on page 37. Kisley.
Okay, we also have the leadership newspaper. We can see that on the screen right now. We'll begin to take the headlines from the leadership. It says depreciation, experts harp on fiscal discipline to stabilize Naira. 2023, Southeast PDP backs Southern governors on zoning. And President Muhammadu Buhari absolves Adamu, says ex-PDP members in APC have repented. There you have a number of riders to that headline, and also others also on the front page. We'll give you an opportunity to buy a bit to begin to talk about the stories we have right now.
Thank you, Kingsley. Let's start with the APC convention. We started on Saturday and ended on Sunday. Senator Abdullahi Adamu emerged as the chairman of the party, with Senator Iyola Omishore emerging as secretary. Others were elected into 76 other positions. This ended the Governor May Malabuni Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Committee, which was incepted 25th of June 2020 to replace the Adams Oshiomhole-led National Working Committee. The party zoned the chairmanship to the North Central State, and 5 other aspirants reportedly stepped down for Senator Abdullahi Adamu. Daily Trust reports that the letter is signed by Senator George Akume, addressed to the chairman APC election committee, said that they referred to the appeal by Mr. President to agree to make our colleague Senator Abdullahi Adamu our consensus candidate for chairman. The convention also ratified amendments to the constitution of the All Progressive Congress. Governor May Malabuni, while addressing the convention, asserted that 3 governors who defected to join the All Progressive Congress should have no fears over their litigations. He says that their defection did not violate any law, adding that they will be victorious at Superior Court. Meanwhile, Senator Adamu Abdullahi, in his acceptance speech, called for maturity and spirit of sportsmanship for all to join hands to move the party forward. He declared that to renew this move, the party will move forward in faith in the APC to a new dawn. He says that he and his elected colleagues will maintain an open door policy, and he asserted, together let us rise towards the sunshine to be the party of the people, for the people, by the people. Earlier on, he also appealed to the media to rise and uphold the patriotic spirit of media pioneers by putting the interests of Nigeria and the people above all considerations, and always work for the peace, progress, and prosperity of Nigeria. And at Makurdi in Benue State, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State also told a consultative forum of the PDP that he has capacity to win the 2023 presidential election for the People's Democratic Party. Intimating the stakeholders of his intention to run for the presidency, he declared, "To move the APC from power, I am the person who can tell them enough is enough. We must take this power, and I am ready to take it for the PDP. I am declaring for the first time in Benue, I'm going to run for the election. Those who once left the party and came back are the reason the party lost election in 2015. Adding, if you are a founding father who run away, you have violated and vitiated your shares. I stood for the party. I worked for the party since 1998. I have nowhere to run to. I have performed as governor. Give me the mandate. I will speak truth to power. I have the capacity to move the country forward." So, political gladiators are beginning to emerge.
That's right. Politics is, of course, what we are discussing in our conversation segment. There are 2 very important stories that Juma read from the front page of the paper. One has to do with the terrorist attack on Kaduna Airport on Saturday on motorbikes. That's a breach of security. And my principal concern has to do with the mobility of the terrorists. We had discussed on Good Morning Nigeria the need for the local authorities. It's a local government business to get motorcycles properly registered. In virtually all parts of the country, you find motorbikes without due registration. They have no license, no numbers, no nothing, even here in the Federal Capital Territory. We know that from time to time they organize raids on them, but go around, you just see motorbikes. So somebody can commit a crime and then they take off. So, but if a motorbike has proper registration, then it becomes easier, because they say 2 motorbikes were left behind by the they call them bandits. Those are terrorists, actually. So we hope that they can follow up.
Well, the social media has even aggravated what happened at Kaduna. On the social media, you see a video of a political rally in Sokoto.
Yes.
Was shown there with people riding on the tarmac, and that was purported to have made the attack on the Kaduna airport. While actually, the terrorists who attacked the Kaduna airport, upon being alerted by the security were able to repel them. And I think they killed two of the invaders. On social media, they even said that they held the aircraft and stopped it from flying. And that is not true. Yes, there was an attack. One airport official, Naala is the name, was killed, but the security were able to repel it. But be that as it may, our airports must be security safe. There's a forest surrounding the Kaduna International Airport, and that is where these persons came in the foray. Don't forget that the same criminals invaded Nigerian Defense Academy all along that same flank of Kaduna. So there is need to work on that. It is from those forests they traverse across into Biriningwari, into Zamfara. That has been their footpath of this criminal operating in that area. And so something has to be done very, very strictly.
Well, that's fine. Just that, I mean, it's unfortunate that an official of Nama was killed in that incident. The other story has to do with what has been happening at OAU, that's Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife, where Ife indigents have been protesting the appointment of a new vice chancellor. And the grouse is that the new vice chancellor designate is not an Ife indigent. And they are saying that it must be an Ife indigent who will be a vice chancellor of their institution. Well, I doubt if we're going to have enough time to discuss that this morning. But
it's a federal university.
It's a federal university. But what we have seen increasingly in recent years is the villagization of public universities in Nigeria.
Yes.
Whether it is a state university or mostly federal university, you appoint somebody else from outside the so-called catchment area, and there are protests.
It becomes an
issue. Say, yes, that must be our own. It must be our own, almost like a La Cosa Nostra. That this thing of ours, this thing is something that we must be the ones who are in charge. And when you appoint somebody from outside, they make life difficult for the individual.
Yes. Talking about universities, sadly, Nigeria lost the first female vice chancellor, Professor Grace Alele Williams. She died on Friday in Lagos at age 89. He was the first to earn a doctorate in mathematics and was also the first female to become a vice chancellor. And the governors of Delta and Edo have paid tribute to her, and they describe her as a woman of substance who was fearless administrator, who restored sanity at Uniben during a period of social upheaval. Both governors, Obaseki and Ifeanyi Okowa, paid tribute to her, saying that they describe her as an Amazon who traded where others dreaded. Yeah,
we must of course, send our condolences to the Alele Williams family, but at the same time also appreciate General Ibrahim Babangida, whose regime in 1986 appointed Alele Williams as the first female vice chancellor in Nigeria. Maria Toby, thanks a lot for being around. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
It's Good Morning Nigeria, live on NTA's network service. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll get ahead with our item for discussion, which is on a review of the just concluded APC National Convention.
Welcome back. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria, and to kickstart our conversation, which is a review of the APC National Convention 2022, here is correspondent Oyeyemi Ajayi with a background report.
And bearing allegiance.
Against all odds, the APC convention has come and gone. Senator Abdullahi Adamu emerged as the new national chairman of the party after 6 other aspirants stepped down in line with the party's consensus arrangement. As the third elected national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullahi alongside 77 other officials now make up the National Working Committee and zonal leadership of the party. Former governor of Osun State, Iyola Omishore, also emerged the national secretary of the party after a contender, Abedin Olaiya, stepped down. As the party approaches the 2023 general elections, President Buhari at the convention advised party members to remain united and resilient.
The membership registration and the revalidation exercise undertaken by the caretaker committee has recorded over 41.5 million members. This has proved that we are indeed Nigeria's leading and largest political party. It also exhibits our numerical strength and potential to win elections at all given times, fairly and squarely.
The new national chairman promised to operate an all-inclusive administration that will sustain the gains of the party and its government at all levels.
We will work hard to ensure that we fulfill your expectations. As politicians, we are not strangers to gains, losses, and disappointments with the outcome of every political contest. Let us show maturity and good sportsmanship.
The convention also ratified the APC Constitution 2022 as amended, as well as all actions of the now defunct Governor Mai Mala Buni-led Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, CECPC. Now, what change and progress will the new party leadership bring to the APC ahead of the 2023 general elections? How will the new leadership reposition and strengthen the party? These are some posers guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria will deliberate on shortly.
All right, thank you very much, Oyebi Ajayi, for that backgrounder. And just to indicate that the new National Secretary of the APC, Iyola Omishore, was actually Deputy Governor of Osun State. We have three guests with us in the Abuja studios to discuss matters arising from the just concluded National Convention. Let's welcome the three guests. They are regulars on Good Morning Nigeria. Right Honorable Simon Bako Lalong, the Executive Governor of Plateau State and Chairman, Northern Governors Forum. Your Excellency, a pleasure to have you this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
All right. And we also have Right Honorable Rotimi Chibuike Amechi, Honorable Minister of Transportation and former Governor of Rivers State. Your Excellency, pleasure to have you with us.
Good morning and thank you very much.
And by the way, both gentlemen were at some point in their career the chair of the Conference of Speakers of Nigeria. I don't want to get into which platform they were at the time, but today we're dealing with APC.
we were with the former PDP.
That is history. We're talking about
that was when we thought there was a progressive element in PDP before we moved to the proper progressive party.
All right.
And also in the studio here with us is another regular guest, and he's Senator Surajuddin Ajibola Basiru. He's Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning.
I'm surprised you people are here this morning after an exhausting few days. Actually, it's a pleasure to have you join us.
That's the excellence of politicians.
I can see that.
Right. That's right. Okay, gentlemen, once again, we welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria. There's a saying that all is well that ends well. Give us your thoughts about the just concluded National Convention of the All Progressives Congress. Might it have been otherwise? Your Excellency, Governor of Plateau.
Thank you very much. I would say that for us, it went according to plans. You remember when the party came on board, we were all adopting the three procedures. Is the direct, the indirect, and consensus. We dwell on consensus. The first election was consensus, where we brought in Oyegun. After that, through consensus, we brought in Oshomole. And Mr. President also emphasized the issue of consensus. And when you do consensus, you end up with no winner, no vanquish. That's exactly what we follow today. And you can't do that when you don't have very hardworking, very patient, and of course good leadership. Good leadership will always bring out consensus. But a party without leadership, it's difficult to arrive at consensus because everybody is a leader and everybody determines his interests. But in this case, I will say that we have a very focused leader because everything, most of the things will always end on his table because he gives an opinion. And most of the times, the opinion turns out to be the best for us. So that was why throughout the period, I must also express our gratitude to many of our party faithfuls. Many of them were patient in addressing the issue of the consensus. You know, consensus is a very difficult thing. People think that it's an easy thing to ask people to say, step down for Mr. A, you step down. It's not an easy thing. But at the end of the day, the belief in the party, the loyalty to the party brought out this consensus. So I'm also using the opportunity again to first of all congratulate our amiable chairman and all the members of the National Working Committee.
Okay, Right Honorable Rotimi Amici, Minister of Transportation and former Governor of Rivers State. Did the APC convention meet the expectation of party followers?
Really respond to that question when journalists ask that question. We're not excited. We're not excited seeing what was going on in the Nigerians were excited. And I'm not joking about it. It has nothing to do with APC. Because at a stage, Nigerians felt worried that they had so much hope on APC. And it looked as if it was crashing. PDP was celebrating that APC will implode. We had all sorts of things. At the end of the day, we came out with a strong executive that carried everybody's interest. Some people will not be happy because they thought they could be chairman. But like the president said, like during the negotiation, all of you are qualified. There's nobody here that cannot be chairman of the party, and all of you have the capacity to lead the party. But you cannot be all of you cannot all be chairman. One person has to be a chairman. And since majority of the stakeholders thought that Abdullah Adamu would be the best person at this point in time to lead the party, it is critical that our force to support him. And the issue of chairmanship wasn't an issue. If you watch it on TV, towards the end, everybody began to step down for who they thought was the best candidate at the time. Not because those candidates were more qualified than the others, but because at this particular point in time, there's a need to give and take, so that we can prepare to defeat PDP again. PDP felt we would make the kind of mistakes they made in 2015. They took the populace for granted. In fact, they never knew. I was smelling victory on the side of APC. They were smelling victory on their own side. I was surprised. Anytime I met my friends in PDP then, when they say we win, I say, how? I've put the numbers together. I have done polling. I give, for example, I said, he won Lagos in 2011. You will not win it this time. You won Ogun. You won Oyo. These are states you will not win again. So how would you win? But they took the people for granted. We realized that if we also take the people for granted, we will lose. We will lose like PDP did. So the first step was, therefore, the president said, listen, put all this interest together. Let's go get a party structure. Let this party structure lead us back to the people to showcase what we have done. That's why towards the convention, you saw that we began to showcase the economy may not be as good as you expect, but it's global. It's not as if it's the failure of APC that's fuel crisis. It's not because of APC there is crisis in poverty and all that. No, it is global. There was people demonstrating in Spain, fuel price in America, everywhere. It worsened by the Ukraine war. So we need to showcase the kind of things we had done, and I think we had an applause from the people. So it's not just the party members that were excited. Nigerians were excited. That's why I asked you, why are you not excited?
Okay, thank you. Let's bring in Senator Basiru. Senator Basiru, Governor Lalong used to be a football player, and if we use that analogy, some persons will say that the APC was playing against itself, and there was palpable fear that it could score an own goal, but that didn't happen. What went right?
I think because we have veteran footballers like Governor Lalong in our party, and we also have athletic persons like Right Honorable Abechi there. The truth is that APC has come of age. I was there a day before the convention, and I said that contrary to the naysayers, when the APC was being brought together, they said that merger of political party could never happen in Nigeria. It happened. After it happened, they said it would collapse before the 2015 election. We won the 2015 election in a very landmark manner. They said, no, 2019, we will not be able to win. We won. As of today, my fear for Nigerian democracy is that after the 2020 election, we may just have a one-party state, because our major so-called competitors is a party that has lost its soul. The real progressive elements in the PDP, they are now with us in the APC. And secondly, too, you must also realize that in the political party, there are different ideas, different interests, and different positioning. The best you can have is to be able to aggregate these interests and positions towards an harmonious relationship, and that clearly played out in the build-up to the convention. Even at the convention, you have a truly national party. If you look at the way party positions at the NWC, the NEC, and even the zonal position was zone, no part of Nigeria is left without any substantive influence and positions in our party. That is a very good one for our party. Secondly, too, when your journalists will have brought it further, that politics was not just about the convention. It's politics, just as I said on Friday, with a large dose of entertainment, excitement, and a very convivial atmosphere of all parts of Nigeria. In fact, the outside of the Eagle Square was even more carnival-like. It speaks to the enthusiasm. It speaks to the acceptance of our party by Nigeria. So we don't have any doubt whatsoever that coming into the 2020 election, just like our leader, the president, has said, we are going to field credible candidates at all levels who will be able to galvanize the party. As of today, we have a political party that has 73 senators and have overwhelming members in their representative, and about 23 governors. So the question is, these other people that are positioning themselves for power, I had somebody bragging on social media yesterday, more like a skit, and I laughed that is this how party political powers are contested for in the real civilized and organized manner.
Okay, Senator, thank you. Governor Lalong, there was a heart-stopping moment a few hours to the convention when there was a suit, filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja to declare the planned exercise unconstitutional and illegal. How did you feel when you got that court order?
Well, I was not afraid, because usually you preempt these things. You preempt them. We had a total of over 300 cases before the convention. And with the caretaker committee, they were able to manage all these cases. People were only looking at some of these orders that were there. Over 300, because when they gave their record, over 300 cases. And like the distinguished senator mentioned, this is a party, it was a harmonization of different political groups coming together. And you see that kind of difficulty in managing the interest. At the end of the day, through consultations again, they withdrew the case. They withdrew most of the cases, including the last court order that we got to restrain us from doing the convention. So that one also went. And at the end of the day, even those people that were stopping the convention were also many of them were part of the executive. They became part of the executive. So that is to tell you the power of consensus.
Okay, thank you. Your Excellency, Rotimi Amechi, tell us something about what happens the morning after. Yes, by consensus, number of candidates stepped down. Assuming you want to get into some of the details of the negotiations, what should those aspirants expect? I mean, assuming I was going for the position of chairman, I had picked my phone for 20 million. If I was a lady, that would have been 10 million. And then, of course, I'm left high and dry, assuming nothing comes my way after the convention.
Well, I like the question. What will happen post convention day? So sleep. You need to rest because we were all there till about 4 a.m. Okay, but outside that is the fact that there will be the need for the chairman to sit with everybody who try to contest against him. I think the president that they should be refunded their money. So, in the spirit of consensus, there was a need to refund their money. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is how to move the party forward without further infractions or factionalization, so that as a united party, we can defeat PDP. One of the most important elements that the party executive should not take for granted is a transparent primary. You heard the president say that there will be no need for imposition. Let the most popular candidates emerge from wards and all that up to the presidential level. So that's what I anticipate that will happen, that everybody will be given equal opportunity to contest. The president did advise that this thing should not go to the highest bidder, which means the process should be transparent, not influenced by those who have, some people have come together to say, oh, we are supporting this for businessmen, rich men, that's another form of imposition, trying to get their friends in business to come and be president. But it's clear, let everybody be given the opportunity. Outsiders will come, the party will give them opportunity to contest, but I think that the party, with its own internal mechanism, will choose the best candidate that will confront PDP. I usually ask this question: who will be the PDP flag bearer? It's a difficult question for PDP to answer, and we're waiting.
You want to return to PDP and be a flag bearer?
No. I didn't leave PDP because of position. I was already a governor when I left PDP. I left PDP purely based on ideological interests. Apart from my ideological interests, I left PDP because the interest of Nigeria was at stake at that point in time. You needed to. When people ask me, when you met with President before he became President Buhari, did you give him any condition? I gave no condition. I told him that what's propelling me is that this country cannot afford a second civil war. There's a need to aggregate everybody's interests and try to get them to accept that we're one country, and that propelled me.
Okay, Senator, the convention is done and dusted for now. What is the way forward for the National Working Committee, especially when you look at how party members are going to participate fully in the 2023 election? I would like to ask you this question. What is there any possibility of bringing, as a woman, I'm very concerned about women participation in governance and in politics. Is there any condition or anything out there in the APC to ensure that women out there are fully integrated into the party and participate fully in governance?
I think if there is a political party that is gender friendly, and in terms of the female gender, it is our party. And you can even see from the way and the manner our convention is organized. You can also look at the structure of the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. You see, women playing very active and strategic, role in the government. One of the flagship program of this government is the humanitarian intervention, and you see that a very beautiful Amazon is put there. Even the financial sector of our government is driven, by the female gender. So there are records and evidence to show active participation. When it comes to politicking in terms of election, you see, you have to balance between an electoral contest and question of gender inclusiveness. For me, I think the way and manner to encourage women participating in politics is that they need to be sufficiently empowered in terms of economic empowerment, in terms of social engagement, and in terms of active participation in politics. I must be very honest with myself. Power is never anywhere served a la carte. You must contest for power. Nobody's going to call you, come and be a senator, come and be a governor because you're a female gender. You have to show, and I'll be able to see in the course of my political career that we have quite very energetic and vibrant women in the politics that will be able to take. So in terms of agenda for NWC, I think they will have to build upon what have been done by the caretaker extraordinary convention planning committee. One, our parties have become expanded, and with the expansion come with the challenge of managing sources of our party. And that is why the note that Mr. President sounded at the convention about managing the process of emergence of a candidate for the 2023 election should be transparent, should be inclusive, and we must engender internal democracy in our party. And in this regard, we must be able to look at the fact that the NWC don't really have time. The window for primaries for the 2023 election, because of the new electoral act, is between April and June 3rd, 2022. That means that they must hit the ground running. Some other political party that started picking up form. So I believe also that the nature of our party is such that even within the context of internal democracy, leadership in a progressive party is very crucial in ensuring that all interests are aggregated in a way that further advance the interests of the political party. So I believe the NWC will work with the leadership of the party along, the federal, national, state, and local government level to ensure cohesion, harmony, and resilience of our party ahead of the 2023 general elections.
All right, Senator Basiru, thanks a lot. Back again to Governor Lalong. President Muhammadu Buhari has received wide applause for his intervention and instrumentality to the consensus arrangement that brought about the almost flawless convention that the APC had. Next up, party primaries. So the president himself has sounded a warning, be careful, and not to the highest bidder. And some persons are already raising questions. If the president made his decisive intervention at the national level because he's respected as the leader of the party, what should be expected at the subnational level, at the state level? With the greatest respect to you, we'll say this when you are not available, but we'll say it now. Where the state governors are deemed to be emperors and therefore leaders of the party, are we going to see the same consensus, or it will now be a position? Or would we expect the president to be micromanaging primaries at the state level, which oftentimes normally would result in cries about lack of internal party democracy? Excellency.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we always follow exactly the footsteps of our president. In the last convention, the congresses that were held, the president's emphasis at that time was consensus but direct election. He emphasized direct election. We are used to, at the subnational, conducting elections through indirect election. In most of the states, what we did was to employ the opportunity to continue with the direct election. He emphasized direct election, just like he was talking about also consensus at the national level. So when we started the congresses from the world, in most of the states, it was issue of direct election. First, we had a challenge when we were talking about direct election, about the registration, knowing the number of people, knowing those authentic members of the party. Each state went into registration. The registration took a while, but we knew that the best thing to do is to have authentic membership. At the end of the day, in most of the states, we had this membership. So it was now very, very easy for us to conduct elections through direct process. And direct process means that everybody is involved. It's difficult to say you are imposing. Now we got to this level of the National Working Committee. It was now emphasis on consensus. We have seen the benefit of consensus. So as we move back, everybody in the state is also going to continue to stand on the issue of consensus. I said it here, that when you are talking about consensus, from my own experience, you need good leadership. Without leadership, you cannot achieve consensus, because whether you like it or not, the buck will stop at somebody's table. It will stop at somebody's table. If you don't have a good leader, if you don't have a leader who doesn't bother about sitting down to even allow the buck to stop on his table, it means you will end up with no consensus. Let me also say that on the other side, I don't like to call the name, but of course we know the other side when we talk about it.
There are so many other sides, you have to be specific here.
Well, the PDP.
Okay.
On the side of the PDP, you always see that somebody will say we are going to adopt consensus. but where will the buck stop? Who is the leader now in PDP? This is a party that at one point, a former president tore his membership card, threw away and left. The second time, a convention was conducted without a former president. So who is the leader? I always ask when they say we are going to do consensus, this person is like everybody, anybody that has money will come to social media and declare that I'm the leader of the party. And at a point, the former president also mentioned, he said this is a party that somebody will procure judgment, get a seat, and then claim that I own the party. This is what we're seeing, and we're also saying it there. The Honorable Minister has said it, and the distinguished Senator has said it, and I will also echo that if Nigerians are looking up to democracy, they should look at APC. And with this successful convention, just wait and see what APC will produce for Nigeria. My own is just for them to be patient.
Honorable, can you respond to it too? And knowing fully that the PDP also said that the convention was a jamboree of lies.
You know, I read them talking about corruption and the fact that some of our officers had corruption cases. And I wonder if they have forgotten that their past chairman refunded some money and vehicles. They've forgotten that some of their governors still have cases in the EFCC before they ran for governorship. PDP, I was in PDP. I was one of the leaders of the PDP. I was. So PDP is not an issue. Okay, what would you tell Nigerians? No, tell me what the PDP will tell Nigerians. Let's begin with my ministry. PDP paid out money to individuals, to Nigerians, to reconstruct railways. You know Nigerians don't have the capacity to reconstruct railways. So why award the contract to them? In fact, I would give you one that make you laugh. When we tried to construct the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail line, we awarded the contract. Somebody went to court that he will not allow us to go unless we paid him 9 billion naira. And he was to refund us 9 billion naira. He said we should pay him 9 billion naira for a job he did not do. And I said I'm waiting for the court to give that order. We're going ahead. In the next 3-4 weeks, we're going to have to construct Port Harcourt-Maiduguri rail and wait for him. Let him come to the center of the place and see whether he will be arrested. That's the kind of party that some of us left. You see, a party called APC trying, if we're not ashamed, I am, to go to other countries and I hop into a rail and I'm able to appear in Kaduna, or I want to go to Maiduguri. I'm able to go into a train and I come into Maiduguri in 4-5 hours. In Nigeria, you can't even move from point A to point B easily. Then the president comes and says, okay, beyond just governance, the issue of infrastructure is a complete disgrace to Nigerians. You can't even drive easily. It takes me 14 days to transport a coach from Lagos to Abuja. So the person has to sleep on the road, he has to eat, he's a human being, he has to naturally evacuate his system and refill and all that for 14 days. But now, if we had completed the rail from Lagos to Abuja, in 8 hours, the coach will arrive Abuja. Just like it takes you 1 hour plus to arrive Ibadan now. I mean, are people not going to say that we've tried? Won't they just say, for the first time, we are utilizing our resources according to the needs of Nigerians? Okay, let's go to Kaduna, Abuja. People now no longer live in Abuja and go to work easily because of the high cost of accommodation and all that. People will go to Kaduna, which will be cheaper, to come to Abuja. Some have their families before, in the past, their families in Kaduna, and then maintain another house here in Abuja. So you are running 2 families at the same time. With the introduction of the Kaduna-Abuja rail, you can live with your family in Kaduna. By 6 a.m. you are at the station. You board the train at 6, you are here before 8.
Depending on the work you do.
Yeah, but most of the work you do, nobody will tell you to be at work at 7:30.
Somebody like me, I can't stay in Kaduna and work in Abuja.
When do you resume work? Eh?
I was here since 6 a.m. or 5:30.
Okay, well, so some people like you may not have to live there, because if we cannot leave by 5, we leave at 6.
Yes.
But I think with time, as security improves, we will be introducing 3 to 4 a.m.
Trains. Well, Honorable Minister, I would like you to address the question I posed earlier to Governor Lalong. Namely, we have seen the President's decisive intervention bring about the consensus arrangement that worked almost flawlessly.
You know you're not being fair.
Let me.
I'm not the governor, so I wouldn't know whether they have been positioned or not. You said, in fact, and that's the wrong word to
I
use.
said who identified the leader of the party in the states, because ultimately there are some states that are not controlled by the APC.
Don't worry, I'm not the leader, so don't bother your head about that.
Well, you can respond.
Yeah, but respond. I mean, how do you manage this at the subnational level?
I can tell you for free. I think that the consensus is one arrangement that is very good. It reduces rancor and all that, but you must get the acceptance of consensus for you to apply it. So if you want to introduce consensus in your state, there is a need to bring all the stakeholders together and let them decide who, with the governor leading, who will be the best candidate that will carry the flag of APC to defeat PDP. Because the moment you don't bring everybody together, then there will be a disagreement. Somebody will think that his interest is not carried along. If that is come to play, the best thing to do is to allow for a free and fair primary, so that when a man is defeated, he knows that he was defeated. That way, the right person will come. And what's important for us now is good governance, a transparent process, and the fact that people have to accept us. I think that's what to say. But like I said, I'm not a governor. I'm also not a leader. I'm the Minister for Transportation of the Federal Republic.
That makes you a leader, actually.
So every minister is a leader. There are ministers that are not politicians. Don't forget, there are ministers in our cabinet that are not politicians. The former Minister for Budget, Senator Dodoma, he's a businessman, the technocrat. There are several of them. The Minister for Finance. So being a minister doesn't make you a leader.
Well, let's bring in Senator Surajuddin. The new chairman, Senator Abdullah Adamu, was head of the Reconciliation Committee of the APC, and I believe he knows most of the problems that, almost derailed APC convention for a while. How will his knowledge of the problems in the APC help, in the workings of the National Working Committee and the success of APC at the 2023 elections? Without issues.
I think I will first say that being in the Senate with Senator Adamu, I will say that even before the emergence of the new leadership at the 9th Assembly, Senator Adamu played very important role in being able to bring us APC senators together to ensure that we're able to have a leadership that is true to the creed of a National Assembly that works for Nigeria. At all our meetings, at the secretariat of campaign effort for Ahmad Lawal, he was a leading light in that place, and he has been a stabilizing factor in the National Assembly. When you have 109 persons from diverse background, different temperament, different orientation, for people like Senator Adamu, they will call them elder statesmen even in the Senate. And on the job of reconciliation, having traversed from one place to the other and being able to actually hear out people's issues, grievances, and the report he submitted to the CAPC is a wonderful piece of objectivity. You can see that nobody actually raised any eyebrow as to eventually what he has come forward with. But I think it's also very important to address the question of the fact that looking at his profile, you see, he's somebody that is outstanding when it comes to experience in party politics and in organization. And it's one of those people that have decided that once and for all, we must have a genuine progressive party, and he broke away from the previous PDP, if I may use the word of the Honorable Minister, and being a founding member of the APC, he actually is in the best way to understand the underpinnings and the way forward for the APC. So I don't have any doubt whatsoever that it will give genuine, correct leadership that will ensure to the vibrancy of our political party ahead of the 2023 elections.
I'm just wondering. All right. I just wanted to, Juma, if I may, Senator Basiru, I would like you to speak to this issue, because we saw it on the front page of the Punch this morning while we were doing the newspaper review. the new APC chairman is a serving senator. What happens to his position? I've been searching my head to find out whether we have this kind of precedence of a senator taking this assignment of managing a political party. You're former Attorney General of Osun State. What is afoot? You know, is the Senate job now a part-time job, and then the other one a part-time job as well? How do you reconcile that?
Is the seat going to be declared vacant?
Yeah.
Actually, in terms of the legal, position, and it's not only Senator Adamu Abdullahi that is also in the National Working Committee. My colleague, Distinguished Senator Akiari from Borno State, is Deputy National Chairman North. I must tell you, unlike in the case of a governor, where the issues was raised in the case of Jegede and Akeredolu, as to that a governor cannot hold an executive position coterminous with serving as a governor. There is no similar provision in our constitution. In this regard, therefore, we may say that for both of legal argument, he may elect to retain the same position because there's no really a legal disability to do so. And when it comes to disqualification, there's no such requirement that disqualify him from that position. But I think, and I know very well that there's difference between legality, morality, and political expediency. And I think as a matter of political expediency, the best decision will be taken. And I know I had a word with my colleague, Senator Kiari, and he said that he's ready to leave the Senate if there's an assignment for a party. So these are statements. These are people who are not looking for the luxury of office. They are looking to serve in any capacity that the party and the nation had given them. So that should not really be an issue. But if we want to take it strict legalism, the position of a senator does not have a similar provision that disable their excellencies, the governors, from taking executive positions like that of a party position. There's no similar provision in the constitution.
So they don't need to vacate their seats?
You can't, unless on their own they elect to leave. As from my knowledge of the Nigerian constitution, as of today, there is no, because when you want to say vacation, the constitution provide for what are the circumstances by which may lead you to vacate your position.
One of those circumstances in the past, I'm just, again, you pardon me, a lot of cobwebs now. I don't know whether this was affected by any of the 4 earlier alterations, where if you were, excuse me, a member of the legislature and the executive appointed you into its own cabinet or otherwise, then you had to lose your legislative seat. Former Governor Amechi mentioned the case, for instance, of Udo Udoma. Udo Udoma, of course, businessman, he was a senator. And during the Obasanjo regime, while he was in the Senate, he was nominated for the position of, I think, Minister of State for Tourism. If he had stepped forward to take the oath, then he would have lost his seat at that material time. I'm not sure whether that portion of the Constitution has been touched, but as you said, there are moral questions.
So what I'm saying is that, with respect, there is the difference between taking a political decision and working according to the letters of the Constitution. As of today, and I stand to be corrected, there is no provision that says that he should vacate his office. But as a matter of political decisions, you may do so. So there's a difference between the law as it is and whatever political decision you take in that regard. Even in terms of a legislator being appointed as a minister, it just stands to political expediency and to morality for you not to take the two offices together. I'm saying that we must make a distinction between what the law provides for and what is done politically in terms of your response to that situation. I surmise that if somebody has been given a serious task as that of chairmanship of a party or deputy chairmanship of a party, he would naturally, on his own, without any legal inhibition, resign to be able to concentrate on that assignment. But we must make a distinction between whether he's legally obliged and whether legally his position can be declared vacant by virtue of taking that particular position. I'm also have an academic background. So when you are talking, you're able to make a clear distinction between what it is provided for in the law and what is actually being done in reality. If for instance, a governor should decide to take position of chairmanship of the party, I guess my reasoning from position in Jegede and Akeredolu is that he ought to, elect in that regard to take any of those positions. But there is no analogous provision when it comes to a member of the National Assembly. That may well be a thinking for us to possibly amend the constitution if any mischief is done in this regard. But I don't think that politically, none of them will elect to continue to be. In fact, when we were leaving for the convention, we were doing like more of a valedictory session at the with the president of the Senate, and everybody was jostling to take picture with both our Baba Adamu and Senator Kyari.
Governor Lalo?
Well, for
He's
me,
a lawyer, by the way.
Yes, I know. That's why.
I would like to go along with him, but in a little different way. Because for us, in the APC, we believe that we respect also, apart from provisions of the law, we respect the judgment of Supreme Court. We don't want to fall into what we fell into, almost falling into, when the judgment in Akeredolu came up. And that was why we were in a hurry to conduct our elections. Today, Abdullah Adamu, I'm sure by implication, even everybody knew the day he was leaving to contest for this position that he has left his seat. People are already campaigning for that seat in that state. And the same thing with Senator Kyari. So for us, we will want to err on the side of caution than to continue to wait for interpretation of the court again. APC is a law-abiding party. We will not want to wait for the vacation for somebody to move the court to ask for vacation. We are already prepared to conduct an election to replace Senator Abdullah Adamu and also Senator Kyari and many other. I think there are about two persons who also left from the House of Representatives or their state assemblies to come and join the National Working Committee. I see it exactly like the case of an executive member. And I recall that some of us, even as governors, we've had cause to remove people from the House of Assembly to be made commissioners. And the day you are going, you know that that seat remains vacant. Now, let me also take time to also talk about Senator Abdullah Adamu. I come from Plateau. And all of them, between Abdullah Adamu and Dr. Yocha Ayu, Senator Yocha Ayu, all of them were a product of Benue Plateau State, and particularly Plateau State. Senator Yocha Ayu was a lecturer at the University of Jos. From lecturing, he became ASU president, and from ASU president to a senator and Senate president. For Abdullah Adamu, I knew Abdullah Adamu even when I was in secondary school. I was in secondary school when Abdullah Adamu was the secretary of the MPN in Plateau State. MPN then in Plateau State. From MPN, Abdullah Adamu went into, from MPN, Abdullah Adamu became the first governor of Nasarawa, executive governor of Nasarawa State for 8 years. Abdullah Adamu was also a minister of the Federal Republic, Minister of State Works here. From there, Abdullah Adamu went to the Senate, 2 or 3 times senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So in terms of comparison, I've had people make some comparison. I said that Abdullah Adamu was national chairman when Senator Yocha Ayu was a lecturer at the University of Jos. He was already, that time he was a lecturer. He had not ventured into politics. In terms of politics, for me in Plateau, I will always rate Abdullah Adamu with the likes of Solomon Lar. That was then the man that was, I remember Solomon Lar was governor of Plateau State under MPP. And the man who gave him tough time that time in the opposition was Abdullah Adamu. So in terms of experience, I think for those of us in Plateau, there is no basis for comparison at all. There's no basis for comparison. And I was also very happy when the party made him the chairman of the reconciliation. We didn't know that the party was preparing him for this leadership. He took time all over the state, all over the nation to reconcile people. And with him, when people saw it, they saw respect. They saw respect because there's nothing you can tell him about politics. Somebody who had an attempt at even the First Republic to this time, what are you going to tell him about politics? So he's already an encyclopedia of politics. So at the time we gave him There was that respect. Each state he went, he had respect in meeting all the conflicting parties. Everyone that had Abdullah Adamu will say, no, no, no. If it's Abdullah Adamu, I will appear. There was no state that he went that the parties did not appear before him. So that is kind of respect, and that is kind of showing experience. Eventually, when he became the national chairman, to me, I said, no, this party took the right thing. A round peg in a round hole. So all we are expecting, like the Honorable Minister said, is to provide the good governance, to provide level playing ground as we move into the next phase. That is the primaries of the party, because many people now believe that with an experience like that, when you go into primaries and you lose, you will know that, yes, you lost at the primaries. No longer in position. Nobody will be doing imposition. It will not be a do or die affair, to use the quote from another president in another political party. It is not going to be a do or die affair. Everybody has a freedom. Everybody has a freedom. Everybody has a clear atmosphere, a free atmosphere to exercise his franchise and also to contest the election under our great party, the All Progressive Congress.
Talking about, your franchise and exercising it, the convention didn't just go smooth all the time. We saw a little bit of people complaining. Like, I saw somebody from the Southeast saying he was a founding member of the party and he wants to go for election. He's not going for consensus. Yes, and the woman leader too out there.
Nobody stopped them.
No, what I'm trying to say is here, if you're a party member and a founding party member, do you need to have a position in the National Working Committee to contribute to your party?
No, you don't. You don't need to. But I'd like to refer to the issue of whether Abdullah Adamu will resign or not. Much as I agree with the senator, I think it's section 162 or so of the Constitution that talks about the number of, I've forgotten, I will check, the number of months you can sit in the, if you don't sit for that number of months, which is it 183 days, or then your seat will be declared vacant. So as much as the Constitution or the law did not provide for any member of the legislature or ban the member of the legislature from holding two offices, I don't think he can answer that in two places. That's one. Two, I don't also think that if he does not come to the chambers for, is it 183 days or something, that his seat will not be declared vacant. To be declared vacant, you are required to sit for a minimum of about 183 days or so. If you don't sit for that 183 days or something, I've forgotten, I've been a parliamentarian for a very long time, then the Senate President can declare his seat
And
vacant.
are you not on your way back to the Parliament?
Why are you preempting?
Well, I don't know. Gentlemen, I don't want to drill into this. I'm sure the matters will take care of themselves. This is a new perspective you've introduced. The other perspective, I mean, from an academic point of view, would be, okay, there are provisions in the Constitution that forbid certain officers named in the Constitution from engaging in the running of a business and so on and so forth, other than, of course, engaging in farming. And you then ask yourself, what is the nature of a political party? Is it a private enterprise or is it a public enterprise? But there are key questions that will arise. But back again to Senator Basiru. The convention also ratified amendments to the constitution of the party. Those amendments, or if it was singular, that amendment hardly have been talked about. Could you let us into what these amendments or amendment has been, and therefore what the implication will be going forward?
I think the amendment is not actually true that it's not being talked about. For you to have an amendment and the motion moved and there's no counter motion, and you have about 7,853 delegates, they are sure that there is already consensus built around that amendment. I think some of the high point of the amendment is actually to streamline, certain, lacuna observed in the existing, the then constitution. One is the area of Board of Trustees. I discovered that since the inception of the party, the composition and manner by which the structure of the Board of Trustees of the party was set out in the previous constitution was unwieldy, and that has not allowed for the utility of that provision. So it has become what lawyers call dead letters in the constitution. So a body of advisory council was put in place to replace that board of trustees in a way that the membership and the composition is more compact and more direct as to those who could be said to be the conscience of the political party. There were also amendments to ensure that at all levels of our party, peoples with disabilities have elective positions from the unit to the ward to the state to the the national level. And that's why you see that for all the zones, even at the National Army Convention, positions were contested for people living with disabilities. Also, gender recognition, position of women leader and also youth leader. Then there's also streamlining the age of somebody who is a youth leader. We don't want a situation whereby somebody as old as a Right Honorable Amechi would be the youth leader of our party. So the age of the youth leader is pegged as a.
What is a youth?
I'm 56. I'm still very young.
It's about 6 years older than me, so it's no longer youth like me. So 35 years is now the age for which you can be a youth leader. And actually, some people who presented themselves for youth leader position in our party were not screened on that account. Then there's also provision on dispute resolution and discipline, which were amended in a way to make it in line with the experience we have had in the past. So they are not really, they are not as fundamental in terms of changing the architecture of the party. Then the issue of zonal congresses was also addressed. Rather than coming to Abuja to come and address your zonal position, there are now provision for you to deal with that in the micro congress at your zonal level. So that will also reduce the level of contest at the national level. I think those are the highlights of the amendment in the constitution, and they were a product of consultation, discussions and ratification. Even at the National Assembly, we had to consider it at our caucus, and I believe the governors also had insight into what those amendments were. Of course, there were attempts to bastardize the process of the amendment by saying that it excluded those who ordinarily had been members of the convention, but that was clarified in the paid advert by the party. So I believe that those amendments, one, addressing the inclusion of people, a person with disability, addressing gender inclusiveness, and also addressing the question of youth and youth really being represented in that capacity. There are high points of that, and having a board, advisory board, that could be constituted and become a body that will serve as the control of the party would aid the party in moving forward itself.
Indeed, it's not just who is work in progress, Senator Basiru. We'll take a break right now as the conversation begins to wind down. We're talking about review of the APC convention. We'll be right back with our guest.
You're welcome back at Still. Good morning, Nigeria. And we're live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, broadcasting from our Abuja headquarters studios. All our three guests are still with us in the studios. We have the governor of Plateau State. We also have the Minister of Transportation, then Senator Basiru, who, of course, is the chair of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs. Gentlemen, we're getting to a close. Just going forward, I just want to throw this in because some persons probably will also have observed it. Two things. One, why is it that we had the national anthem twice upon the arrival of the president? And two, what were those little children doing on stage at almost 10 p.m.?
Beyond 10 p.m.
10 p.m. These are some of them probably, none of them probably up to the age of 18. Is that a children's wing of the APC?
When the control in the newsroom, I wonder what is the kid doing there? I think the boy is around 5 or 6 or 7 years old at the convention. Wasn't that a risky situation?
Well, first, part of the convention is also entertainment. And part of it, and in part of those entertainment, we also bring out people to tell you all about Nigeria. It's not all about convention. People also believe that you were talking about gender, you were talking about disabled. We wanted to also have provisions for all segments of society to show you how happy they are about this political party. If you meet some people, Even your children in your house, my children, they know many things about APC than even me. It's also to begin to raise consciousness in people. Political activities are not only for adults. You start from the younger age so that they know what they are facing. Well, for me, they were brought in for entertainment. And part of that entertainment was that song, that unity song, reflecting in children, telling you that even what you are doing there, the emphasis is that we must be united. And we are children, we are concerned about what you are doing. That's why we're here, to also say that in everything you are doing, we want you to emphasize unity. So bringing them at that time was, well, it's a weekend. It was a weekend. Saturday is a weekend. It was not a day that tomorrow you come out and say, no, they are not going to school. They also enjoyed a big part of it because we didn't want to leave the children out. You are talking about youth here. If you left youth out, if you left women out, they will say, no, you left them out.
We raise our placard and say,
Exactly.
no, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Then the other one of national anthem, I think it was just mere communication, because when he came in, you know, sometimes we even make that mistake. Instead of waiting for the song, we will say we are singing the song. So there was that. The man was saying, okay, we wait for the song, and some people were already singing the song when the DJ now played the national anthem. So with that little confusion, we now had to take the national anthem properly. National anthem is not something that you joke with. If you make mistake, you better correct that mistake, because that is a symbol of respect for our country.
And the other symbol, I'm sure, gentlemen, you observe this. Why it's not just for the APC convention, but at most functions, and in some cases, when you even go to some state executive offices, you find this presentation of the national flag. The Nigerian flag is green, white, green. I don't know when we started superimposing the crest, the emblem, in the white segment. So even the flags that people are waving, you will see green, white, green, and then you see the crest, you know, unity, faith, and progress. You know, you see all of that there. So when are we going to get out of this? It will require some great deal of public enlightenment to do this. The president's flag, excuse me, in his office is green, white, green, pure white, and pure green. All right, so those are matters on the side.
On the side.
Jumai, I just wanted to throw this in, gentlemen. We have seen the Electoral Act 2022 in operation. And we also saw the way the APC went around Section 84, subsection 12, again, apparently to use the words of His Excellency Governor of Plateau, to err on the side of caution. But there is perhaps a much bigger problem. If you look at the timelines now for the conduct of primaries and then the election, some persons are already wondering, can we afford this ritual almost every 3 years, whereby governance begins to suffer? Because you have such a long time between the primaries and campaign and the conduct of election next year, and then before you finish that one, the next cycle of general election is already upon us. Is this something that we could give a thought to and say to ourselves, look, this might be too costly, either in terms of organization or also in terms of focusing on governance, which is one of the key points, Honorable Minister, you raised earlier, and then see how perhaps we could enlarge the 4-yearly tenure of elected officers, president, governors, members of the legislature. Honorable Minister.
No, ask them.
Senator.
You should ask Senator, because you're trying to introduce something that I'm not aware of. It's not,
okay, fine.
Why I say you should ask them, because the senator, if you want an amendment to the constitution, it's the senator that can tell you that, not an ordinary minister.
I don't want to preempt you anyway.
The truth is that governance, democracy, anywhere in the world is a thing that you need to have to learn from experience and structure your law in order to be able to address mischief that have been seen in practice. So the question is that why early primaries? It is to avoid the situation whereby pre-election litigation will not create a situation whereby there will be uncertainty as to who is even being voted for at election. Our experience operating, in the past, has seen a situation whereby it will well be after elections that the question of who actually as a match as candidates, will be known. You know what happened, to the case of even the Right Honorable Amechi here, when he was not literally, so to say, seen as a candidate by his political party, but eventually the Supreme Court, were able to see that he ought to be the one that should be on the ballot, and then he was given his mandate. But on contrary wise, in the case of the same similar fact in the that of Ararume and the PDP, even though he was declared, then you see his political party now do abracadabra to be able to ensure that it does not emerge in that election, because the establishment in the political party felt is not there. So when you are drafting law, when you are doing legislation, you borrow from experience. Section 285 of the Constitution now provides that 6 months you must determine pre-election matters. So the ample time now given is that when you have concluded your primary processes by June 3rd, you have 6 months by which any post-election, pre-election litigation would have been able to be concluded. So you save the country a lot of resources in terms of having to reconduct election and also the uncertainty in that regard. Then also, we should also take this that I don't believe that it is the elected politicians alone that run governance in the country. It's because we still have challenges of institutionalizing, governance. I've served, before at the state level as a commissioner. I believe that when the governors are given parameter as to what we'll be doing, our job as commissioner, ministers at the federal, is to superintend and see that this actually occur. And I don't think how that creates any distraction, the fact that we are doing party primaries and so on and so forth, for ourselves. So I believe that with the provision, the extant provision of Electoral Act is to borrow from the experience of plethora of litigation, confusion, and some of the unsavory development that has occurred. Like, for instance, there's this problem that we used to have. Well-conducted elections will be challenged by some of these special purpose political parties and said that they have been excluded, and then a properly conducted election will now be nullified on that account, even when that special purpose political party will never have any chance either in heaven or in hell to win the election. That has also been addressed. So now there's enough time for you to object whether you are actually in the election or not in the election, so that that well-conducted election will not be nullified on the account of such challenge in that regard. But I think by the time we stabilize our democratic experience, we can make necessary adjustments, and then those mischief would have been addressed in the long run. Then on the question of extending tenure beyond 4 years, I think 4 years is a very long time to be able to do any plan, and you must also present yourself for another mandate in the case of those who are holding executive position. For some of us who are in the National Assembly, we may as well be there. Some of our colleagues have been there since 1999. There is no term limit in that regard. Perhaps that creates some sense of stability in that sector. But for executive positions, I think if you have another mandate of 4 years, and later you can proceed to have some other engagement, just like the Right Honorable the Minister is having some other engagement at some other level to be able to participate in national building and development.
Indeed, they say wherever you are in politics, your participation is crucial to the growth of the party. Let's take a step back to the convention again. It's a first in any party to refund monies for the purchase of nomination forms. But does it also cover the cost of campaigns and of the candidates, those that came out early? They must have spent a lot of money, because politics is about money. Will they also be refunded that money? It's just the nomination forms.
No, you see, the one that can be ascertained, clearly ascertained, is the nomination form. You cannot quantify what you have spent in electioneering. And so if you give that, if you open that, anybody can come. If he spent 1 million, he will say, I spent 20 million and we need refund. Apart from that, Any contribution that you are making to campaign, you are also contributing to the development of the party. You are not contributing campaigning because you want a reward, a monetary reward. You are campaigning because you are also using the money to develop the party. So in that case, I think the APC is saying the one that we know, the one that has a check, the one that will give you receipt, we can refund it. But if we ask you to start quantifying what you spend, of course there is tendency for exaggeration. Some people will come and give more than what they have. But this is not the first time we are doing it, and I'm sure it has been done before, even in states. Because if you want peace, in order to, it's not that you are compensating the person, but you are telling him that we appreciate your kindness, you appreciate your loyalty to the party, but let us refund this one for you, so that you know that you are also recognized. And you contest election, not because you really must win the election, but having contested an election, you are recognized in the party for appointments sometimes. So if they win, if the party wins an election, certainly the party must also recognize you for contributing towards the success of that election, not necessarily getting a refund of everything you spend in an election.
Convention over. Where do you see APC through the primaries to 2023?
Well, we're already moving to the next step, and the next step is our primaries. And like Senator said, although I have a little different view again, because I was discussing with the VIP yesterday, and we were all trying to x-ray these periods of campaign. We know that in 4 years, you need at least 3 years of governance. You need at least 3 years of governance. Now the period is shortened by less than 2 years. So what are you going to do? By the time you move in, you are conducting an election, now you are preparing electioneering, it means that you are 2 years, you have only barely 2 years in governance. So instead of, as a lawyer, if is my view, that instead of extending the period of litigation, we can also shorten the period of litigation, of tribunals, petitions. We can also shorten the period of petition to allow for governance. Because the essential thing is that we contest election to come and deliver dividends of democracy. People are now trying to complete their projects, but their attention is diverted to electioneering. So when are they going to complete the projects? The federal government is going to do it, states are going to do it. Now with the period now, we are diverting our attention back to electioneering. You end up with abandoned projects. You end up with abandoned projects instead of concentrating. So my appeal is that maybe as time goes on, let the National Assembly reconsider some of these issues. Because yes, they are not asking for extension of tenure, but within the tenure, let a large portion of the tenure be used for dividends of democracy, so that the common man will understand and enjoy it, and then a limited period given for electioneering.
Well, in fact, His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, did say in an interview ahead of the convention that all APC governors were in Abuja. They were on ground to ensure that the convention went right. That was some weeks ago. So if all governors were on ground here in Abuja, was taking care of their jurisdictions.
The deputy governors.
Deputy governors refer to as spare tire.
You're not fair.
I'll just spare tire. You want to ask? I wanted. Let's throw this in ahead of the primaries. Well, yes, there's been a great deal of excitement now, consensus. No state is left without something, or no zone is left without something in the National Working Committee. Zoning has been said to be a critical issue in the primaries ahead of 2023. And again, the most important office in the land, the presidency. Some persons, their views are already very well known about whether to zone or not to zone, or whether to contest or not to contest. Is this a matter that consensus can also resolve? I would have phrased the question another way. I'll pose it to the Honorable Minister of Transportation, but I know that he will parry it. So, but if respond to it.
So which question now?
Namely, that how would your party, that's the APC,
manage the presidential primary?
confront the question of zoning of the presidency? That's to say that two regional approach, north and south. We have heard some persons say that, oh no, there's no provision for it in the constitution. Oh, let people go and test their popularity and contest. And is this a matter that your party should take seriously?
Well, I think by implication, if you look at the way APC is going, we don't have controversy as to where the presidential candidate will come from. I don't think we have that controversy. Where you have that controversy is in PDP. We believe in fairness. We believe in justice. Last time, the South held the position of national chairmanship. One of the mantra in running that election was that it would be unfair to have had the South hold position of the presidency 8 years under Obasanjo, 6 years under President Goodluck Jonathan, and still maintain that the South should hold the position of presidency. That's why most of us supported, for fairness and justice, supported President Buhari for power to shift. I agree that merit should be the basis by which we elect or select our presidential candidates. I agree completely. But as at now that there are issues about representation and being able to engage all areas of the country, the need for zoning by implication would need to apply it. So if you check our party in the convention, you will see that nobody from the South ran for the office of the chairmanship. That, again, by implication, looks like you have zoned, that's by implication, the office of the president to the South. And if you check those who are running for president by rumor or by those who have declared, it also appears that most of them come from the South. So also by implication, it appears that the party has zoned the office of the president to the South. That does not, by law, stop anybody, to satisfy those who say there is nothing in the Constitution. That does not, by law, stop anybody from running, but to be able to manage the electioneering process, I think that's what you're seeing. That's the consensus you're looking at. I think that'll be my...
Should I preempt you?
I don't know what you want to...
Are you contesting?
Why didn't you ask him? You didn't ask him. You didn't ask the senator.
No, they would also be asked.
Okay, so ask them first. ask them first. Why? That question has that question has constantly been asked by several journalists. Yeah. When you give them answer, they write something else. I hear that in the front page of The Nation, they said that I said I was not running. One other one wrote in their front page when he asked me, why haven't we go to Port Harcourt? I said, look, I work and live in Abuja. So currently my governor is the FCT minister, and I've not been going home regularly because I need to focus on my employment, for which I'm paid for which is the country may or may not appreciate my contributions. Then he asked, is it true that the reason why you're not going home is because you're afraid of Governor Wike? I said, yes, I'm afraid of Wike. I'm a fear man. But all those who wrote that I said I was afraid of Wike, they have forgotten that immediately what followed, that question followed another answer. The first answer I gave was, before that question, was, I'm a man of courage. Nobody in Nigeria can deny me that issue of courage. I fear only God. I respect my elders and those who deserve respect. I don't fear people. I don't fear what I want to do. So, and that was my response. I said, I have courage. I have a lot in abundance. My children have it more. So I wouldn't be afraid of Wike. But having given that answer, and then what followed that answer was, are you afraid of Wike? And I said, yes. You see me now, I fear somebody again. A journalist now goes to say, Amechi is afraid of Wike. So presidency is, I would say, it's a bit too early. People are coming out according to how they wish to come out. So you can never tell who will come out now, who will come out tomorrow, until that. When the time comes for anybody to actualize his ambition, maybe you have consulted. Again, somebody said, I want money, I don't want to run. I said, those who said I should run, may do well also by contributing to me.
With
Maybe
El-Rufai as your running mate.
no, please be careful. Please be careful. I have not said whether I'm running or not.
You're not,
Be
you're
careful.
not, yes.
And you see, in running, that's why for anybody who wants to run, there are a lot of people you need to consult. The issue of who runs with you if you want to run will be determined by a lot of those consultations, including the party. They're not issues you just jump up. This is my ambition in life and I want to run for it, whether I like it or not. I will just have to do one thing, pray. I don't do anything without praying. After praying, I will consult if I want to run. I will consult everybody I want to consult. The president, I want to consult my wife, my children, I want to consult. I may even have to consult if I want to run. Exactly.
Let me give you the headline. I want to give you the headline, Honorable Minister. Amechi : I'll pray before running for presidency.
No, if I want to run.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Right Honorable Simon Bakolalo, Executive Governor of Plateau State and Chairman Northern Governors Forum. Thank you always for your contribution. On
Thank you very much.
Right Honorable Rotimi Chubuke Amechi, Minister of Transportation and former Governor of Rivers State. You're from the South South, so thank you so much for coming. Senator Surajuddin Ajibola Basiru, Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs. Thank you so much for your contributions on Good Morning Nigeria. It's been a pleasure having you. And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today.